On Sunday, the New York Knicks fell to Atlanta Hawks in Game 1 of the opening round of the 2021 NBA playoffs, 107 to 105. Nate McMillan, Trae Young, John Collins, Capella, they were able to run the pick and roll 59 times against the Knicks with ease. We were playing drop coverage against them, and it came to no avail. Trae Young was able to exploit us with 32 points, 10 assists, and neither Burks or Payton or Rose were able to stop Trae Young and his carnage from the pick and roll set. But the person who has the answer is sitting right on our bench. That guy is Tom Thibodeau, given his time in Chicago. We're going to talk about this one concept that I think can help to neutralize the impact of the pick and roll that Nate McMillan and Trae Young have run on us from the third game of the regular season all the way now to the first game in the playoffs. But before we get started, guys, hit the likes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the dark notification bell so you get notices for each and every video I put out. Welcome to Legion and Knicks. Without further ado, hit that rock. Now, let's get down to business. We can sit here and talk about Julius Randle's 6 for 23 game where he was confused by the Hawks defense, especially the help defense by Capella. Didn't want to drive on guys like Gallinari, where literally his first drive on Gallinari resulted in him drawing a foul on Gallinari. But went 6 for 23. Awful night yesterday. Probably nerves. What it may be his first time in the playoffs. We could talk about Frank Ntilikina being cold for that play. But again, Tom Thibodeau, why are you putting in Frank Ntilikina for the last play of the game when he was basically not getting any minutes the whole game? Comes in cold and people want to sit there and kill Frank. Unfair to the kid. Terrible panic decision by Tom Thibodeau. We could talk about Reggie Bullock's bad night. We could talk about Elfrid Payton, who is shell-shocked. I'm not even sure if he should be starting him. I'm not saying you play Derrick Rose, start Derrick Rose. You got to conserve his minutes. But Elfrid Payton he is tapped out. But we're here to talk about the pick and roll. And unfortunately, the Hawks mollywopped us with the pick and roll game 1. Whether it was a single pick and roll, whether it was a double screens, whether it was a Spain pick and roll, which they ran at us, whether it was the pick and pop, they ran at us a few times, whether it was the using the pick and a kicking out to the guy open a perimeter because I help defense. RJ Barrett gets drawn in to helping on the roll man. Either way, the Hawks ran it 59 times against us and had solid success despite what the final score says. Now, both teams had 50 points in the paint, but the Hawks only had 7 offensive rebounds. We out-rebounded them the whole game, and they only had 10 second chance points, which is tied for lowest in the playoffs. So a lot of their damage came off that pick and roll set. And again, we played the Hawks the same way we played them in the last game of this regular season, where we played drop coverage with Nonzo Taj and try to wait for one of the point guards to reset on Trae Young while kind of holding space with the roll man. And he burned us the same way in that third game before he got hurt as he did in this game 1 of the playoffs. Like, I don't understand why Tibbs has not been aggressive. You saw what the Grizzlies did to Steph Curry. Yeah, Steph Curry had his 37 whatever points, but Dylan Brooks held Steph Curry to 6 for 17 or 6 for 15 shooting while he was on, man, about a point 8 points per possession. While with everyone else, he was hitting around like 1.15 points per possession. For some reason, Tom Thibodeau played way too tentatively. You have to be aggressive on a guy like Trae Young, but he has the answer. And it goes back to something that he did in Chicago. And what is that? The ice pick and roll. Icing the pick and roll entails using the guard, whoever the ball handler defender is, to block and prevent the pick from being used. Forcing the ball handler into one area we can better control the action with some help defense, trapping, near the wing, the corner, even if it's somewhere near the paint, if the point guard gets that deep. But essentially, you want to basically kick it back out to the roll man, who's now popping out to create some space to help the stuck ball handler. Maybe have him kick it out to the other wing where playing the passing lanes. It could result in some turnovers. Whoever that defender is, typically is going to be R.J. Barrett or Reggie Bullock on the other side. Or better yet, have Trae Young take these undesirable long mid-range shots. Now, yes, he can hit them, but he typically wants to do them within the rhythm of an offense, not when he's trapped and he has to make a bang-bang decision. And a guy like Nate McMillan, who does not play with a lot of pace, you see in his numbers, the Hawks ended the season 23rd, I believe, in pace to close out the season. He's a slow kind of churn him out offensive coach in that regard. And so when they run the pick and roll, if you can disrupt it and trap a guy like Trae Young, he's looking up and it's say 5 seconds left on the clock. Trae Young this regular season, he's only shooting 34% from the field with shots with less than 4 seconds left on the clock. So you disrupt that pick and roll and have Trae Young have to think on the fly with not many seconds left on the clock. He's not close to the paint. He doesn't have an open option. The numbers are in your favor. Now, I want to show 2 examples real quick just to iterate and show what I'm talking about, the pick and roll. So right here we see the Rockets try to run on the Bulls. Pick gets iced. Now, yes, right here, that number 9, I can't see it. Now, you want that guy. That's typically going to be R.J. Barrett, Reggie Bullock. Now, he's defending the perimeter. He helps out because we have the help of defense. And Tom Thibodeau was run that forever, running in Chicago as well too. And typically that guy will be, like say yesterday would be Bogdan. You do want RJ Barrett a little bit close. I think we help out way too much with the help of defense with paint drives or any action going into the paint. But you want RJ Barrett in that position, be able to close out and reset on the ball handler, and voila, offensive foul, catastrophe, Bulls ball. Now another example entails Kemba Walker with the Charlotte Hornets. Use a pick and roll. Now, right here, before we continue, just want to point out, pay attention to the big man on the pick and pop, or basically there was not any pick and pop because Kemba couldn't use a pick, but pay attention to the big man. That would typically be Capella, where Trae Young be running the pick and roll Capella, and if you're able to trap or catch a guy or prevent the pick, ice the pick, and have a Capella try to space out. Capella is not a good mid-range shooter. He's not a proficient one, a proficient long mid-range shooter. It's just not his forte. So if you can have a guy like Capella now have to resort to spacing out because his point guard is stuck and he wants to shoot that shot, let him go ahead and do that. Or he probably try to get it back to Trae Young or see somebody open. If a lot of times left taking off the clock, now Capella's in a situation where he's forced to take that shot, or maybe he tries to make one more pass for an even worse shot deeper late in the shot clock, and they're stuck. So the ice pick and roll could definitely work. It's something that Tom Thibodeau's run. It's time in Chicago. For a team like the Hawks who have the offensive firepower, you got to pull out all wrinkles. Now, like I said, Capella is not a good mid-range shooter. And a guy like John Collins is actually fairly good and proficient at running the pick and roll. But are you going to have a lineup where you're taking out Capella to just have John Collins in there? No, you need Capella. He's your rim protector. The Hawks are preventing teams from scoring, I believe, 6 or 7 less points once Capella's on the floor. So you need his defensive acumen. And if you want to risk it with John Collins being the only forward or big man out there, I don't think so, because you saw what Julius Randle can do to John Collins, basically mollywopped him that 3rd game in the regular season. So it's up to Tom Thibodeau to be a little bit more aggressive, ice the pick and roll, disrupt the pick and roll, get Trae Young out of his comfort zone. If you do that, for a guy like Nate McMillan, who's loved his point guard, loves the pick and roll, and once those point guards go down or are ineffective, you've seen it when he was with the Seattle Supersonics. He used to just basically try to get it to Gary Payton in that his first playoff year. Just get a Gary Payton, just see what we can do in the 4th quarter. Obviously, that didn't work. When he was with the Blazers, once Brandon Roy went down, my son, they basically all that hope, and obviously the injuries to guys like LaMarcus Aldridge and Greg Oden. Once he went down, Brandon Roy went down, it's kind of all she wrote. Oladipo had that one good year, but even that one good year, couldn't get past the Cavaliers. They did a lot of pick and roll with that team, a lot of action to Oladipo, but obviously LeBron James and that Cavaliers team were able to hold him off. And, they made Oladipo as good as he looked. He was not impactful in helping them get over the hump. So you disrupt point guard play, disrupt the pick and roll against Nate McMillan, against Trae Young, and you can disrupt this Hawks team. You can disrupt this Hawks offense. And even on nights where the Knicks are not shooting or scoring well, not doing well offensively, they can still survive because they can basically shut down the Hawks offense, have the Hawks scrambling for ideas and resolutions. And Nate McMillan is a coach who has, he has been flustered many times in the playoffs. So that's my video. disrupt the pick and roll, ice it, and Knicks have a better chance. But guys, let me know what you think. Leave your comments down in the comment section. Hit the likes on the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what you think. Are there any other ideas you have in regards to icing the pick or essentially disrupting Trae Young and his Hawks offense? Let me know what you guys think. I will be having the watch long on Wednesdays, a live play-by-play, as well as the pre and post game. So please be there before, during, and or after the game. Until then, peace, salute. God bless all you guys, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. Much appreciated. And I'll see you guys later.
Yo, free up. What the hell, man? Yeah, shit.